So this is a 85 Chevrolet K10. It's been off the road since early 2018, I believe. This is actually a truck I've owned for 12 years now. And I'm the one that just let it sit here in the weather. Well, it's my daily driver until I bought a newer truck with AC and all the nice creature comforts. I just had gotten tired of being pestered to sell every time I went somewhere. So I decided to get a newer truck. I would occasionally start the truck, move it around the yard, drive it up the road, until about 4 years ago. I got a little rowdy, I guess, and broke the pinion in the U-joint. Then I ended up borrowing the carburetor for a different car for a little while, but it's about time to get it back on the road now. I'm hoping there's not a lot of rodent damage. Maybe the friend who left this behind evicted any rodents that were in here, but wow. That's kind of a good sign, actually. I would rather have a snake in there than a bunch of mice tearing everything up, but as you can see, there's a lot of snake activity. And I put dryer sheets and Irish Spring soap. If I'm not mistaken, the last time I looked in here, the mice had actually chewed on the soap, so that didn't do much good. Clear. Ooh, little mouse house. That's unfortunate. But the brother actually bought me this truck. I'd always wanted short bed, 4-wheel drive, 4-speed. I had a bunch of these old trucks. That's exactly what they were at the time when I started driving. They were just old trucks. And for some reason, I just never had one this configuration. So I'd wanted one of these trucks for a while, and my brother, he'd had so many. And one of the last ones he'd had was a 78 sharp old truck. You know, I really liked it, and I'm a little jealous, of course. That's my brother. I was happy for him. He had a nice truck. And I get home like a week later, I see this thing back in the garage, and I go over, check it out. I look inside and I see 4-speed, short bed. It's a little rough. A little rougher than it is now even, but a lot of potential. And really think much of it. You know, it's like he had two cool trucks at the same time. That's pretty nice, I guess. But you know, I went upstairs and hanging out, relaxing after work, and he comes home after work. He says, "What do you think about that old truck down there?" So it's pretty nice, got a lot of potential. He said, "Well, it's yours. Happy birthday, Merry Christmas." I thought that was cool, and it really meant a lot to me. And it's a shame I've let this truck sit here like this. Under the hood, we have a mostly stock 350. This truck originally had the 305 in it still, with a bad head gasket. I'd used some liquid glass, like block sealer stuff from AutoZone. Drove it that way for a while, but water pump had finally went out on it, and I'd already bought this motor. Decided to go ahead and change it. It's a low mileage, supposed to be in a 305 out of a truck that somebody was LS swapping. It does have 305 heads on it, but it's 350 casting number. The upgrades, I got them old headers, came from a buddy a few years ago. They hung on the shop wall for, I don't remember how long, but put them to use finally. And with this Holly intake, because I'd been running a other carburetor for a while, and I got tired of little spacer adapter thing. But now they went back to the quadrajet. That's caused some issues, but I think I may have figured out the solution to that with a different carburetor gasket I found. It's me from the future. I'm missing a clip, I guess. Basically, I was just going over how I was going to start at the yoke and fix that first. I had mentioned that Dorman used to offer a kit, had the yoke, the seal, a nut, I think the straps, bolts, the whole kit, everything that I would have needed to make this repair. I think it was nearly $200 at the parts store, but I'd found it on Rock Auto for $70. When I went to finally order it, I didn't realize it had been 4 years already, but it wasn't available anymore. We didn't have that part in stores. It wasn't on Rock Auto. The only thing I could find was just some aftermarket, like upgraded yokes for, $150, $200, plus everything else I would have had to bought separately. But I was able to find, this kit from this company here, Hooper's, out in California. It sell, genuine GM used yoke with straps, a new seal, a new nut. Even came with the little bottle of Loctite. It was only $50 plus, shipping, tax, and all, $64.30, which that's not bad. It's probably better than the Dorman part anyway. And it came with this cool sticker, so I ain't mad about it. No OEM parts, so maybe to last if you're not trying to spend 35s out here on the pavement. And got a bird nest. Let stuff set and just nature takes it over. But you can see, broke the side off the yoke here. I did take this loose. I thought I'd had another one, another parts truck I had, but it turned out that truck had a 12 bolt swapped in it, which is an 83. It's like, should have been a 10 bolt, but it wasn't. The right way to do this, of course, be take it all apart, pull the axles, take the pinion out, new crush sleeve, and reinstall everything with the proper, I guess the backlash or drag, whatever. Or if you're just taking it off to replace the seal, you can get away with marking it and tighten it right back to where it was, and it should be good. But that won't do me a lot of good putting, oh wow, light came on. That's pretty neat. As you can see, I'm a really good camera person, but I've also heard that you can just use an impact, run it down, and that crush sleeve is so stout, it takes a lot of pressure to compress it, so well, more pressure than the impact can do. I'm just going to try to snug it a little bit, make sure it's tight enough, maybe jack it up and feel how much slack's in it or whatever. It can't be worse than this. I mean, worst case scenario, I'd get a rear end for it somewhere, which I do that, but we'll go with this for now. I have the old one slid off, the new one slid on there. I'm getting ready to put the washer and nut and everything on. It looks like that pinion may have got sucked in when I pulled it down here, but when I tighten it up, it should pull it through, I guess. I'm gonna use a little bit of this Ultra, Permatex Ultra Gray, I think. Yeah. On the back side of the washer just a little bit, maybe a little on the back of the nut here, just to keep any oil from seeping past the threads. Which, well, I guess the Loctite might seal that too. I don't know. A little bit won't hurt it though. Well, it's on there, and as you can see, that's as tight as that impact will get it. It doesn't feel great. It's an old, wore out 40-something year old rear end. That probably worked. Always a lot of slack in that. It's probably junk, but we'll see. We'll get it out of here anyway. This thing has 273 gears in it, so it probably could use an upgrade anyway. I realize that someone's probably going to tell me I did it wrong, which I know I did. And I over tightened it, and that's why it's got so much slack here, but it took that much just to get it past the point where there was no up and down travel or no side to side rocking. That's probably right about where it was set. That impact didn't have enough oomph to crush that sleeve any more than that, so that's probably where it was. I bet y'all thought I forgot to change the seal, but new one's in it, oiled everything up, it's all good to go. This time of year it gets dark too early, so picking this up the next day. I wanted to do the U-joints and put the dry shaft in it and get everything underneath the truck buttoned up today, but of course I ordered the wrong U-joints, so I'll be dealing with the carburetor today. I had borrowed it a while back for a different project, so it's basically just sitting on there. So I'll have to go over a couple things and get that all situated. I got the carburetor off. You can see those fancy ARP studs I installed a few years back. Had the carburetor off so many times I was kind of afraid it was going to strip the intake. But here is the carburetor gasket. I had one little spot where it kind of delaminated there, which that's probably fine, but it's an awful thin gasket. The original gasket is 1/4 inch thick, but since this is a aftermarket intake, we try to use the original. You see a gap right here. Creates a vacuum leak. I looked and I tried an older style quarter jet gasket, but they were cut in pretty sharp right in this area and had a vacuum leak at each side. So I just started searching for various GM products with quarter jets, looking at the pictures. And that's when I stumbled across this gasket. I think it's for a Trans Am, the 403. It works. You can see the sealing surface there. But I think I found a better option. Chrysler products with a quarter jet, 85 to 89. I think I ordered this for a 86 Dodge pickup with a 360, but it looks similar in shape. Maybe a little extra meat around the edges actually, but this should work good. I got it on there. It's a little hard to do one-handed, so I turned the camera off for a second, but it fits perfectly. Everything is covered. It looks like the ticket there. If you got a aftermarket spread bore intake, use the gasket for a 4-barrel quadrajet equipped Dodge or Chrysler product. So I'm gonna pull this back off, give it a thin skim coat of some grease or something to keep it from sticking, because I have a feeling I'm gonna be taking this carburetor back off at least a time or two. I'm gonna take a quick look at the carburetor. I'm not gonna open it up right now because I don't feel like it, but it was running another car I had a couple years ago. Everything's free. It does smell a little like old gas, but I'm gonna try to run it for now. It run pretty good on this old truck, especially cold starts. But little car I had it on, it just like it was right. So I'm gonna check the settings here. I just kind of left it alone from how it was when I bought it. I made this tool to get in here and adjust APT setting or something like that, which I had messed it up during the first rebuild, or I wouldn't have ever touched it either. But I'm gonna see if this tool will fit, and it doesn't fit these. So I'm gonna have to either modify this or maybe make another one. But I want to check the base setting on these, so I'll be back. Found this old broken screwdriver, so I'm just gonna cut on this and try to make me a tool for adjustments. This works pretty good for the other settings, so I'm not gonna mess with this one. I'm just gonna chop the end of this and cut a slit in it and try that out. Here's what I came up with. It's a little thin, but let's see. It just barely fits in there, and it turns freely. My main concern was it looked, you can't see nothing. Let's see here. It looked like these were set completely different, just to my eye. But you know, the threads on it, they position each one differently, but it don't look right. And somebody's definitely been messing with it since they popped them caps off there. But I'm gonna turn them both in, count them, see if they're relatively equal. Maybe start at a factory base set and then adjust from there once the truck is running. They were both at about half a turn, maybe a little more. Base settings, I thought maybe around 1.5, but I looked it up. It says 1 to 1.5. This being an 800 CFM, I believe, off of a motorhome with a 454. I'll start at 1 full turn, which, I mean, that's a little more than it had to start with, so we'll start with that. So I have everything buttoned back up here. I decided to pull this intake tube off because I figured it would be full of stuff, and it did. It had some nesting material, kind of like maybe a bird nest in there too. I don't know. Clean that off. Go ahead and put everything back together. I would like to maybe start this thing today. I can't drive it until the huge joint comes in. I get the dry shaft back in, but I don't see any reason why I couldn't fire it up today, at least if I can find a battery that'll fit in here. But I'm going to go ahead and probably install a secondary filter down here at the pump. I don't trust taking well, I don't like messing with the filters and the carburetors here, and threads in there kind of scare me, but so I'd rather have a filter out here I can see what's going on and get the condition of the fuel and see if there's any trash in the tank. Which the tank should be fairly clean. It's maybe 6 years old. It's the second replacement tank I put in it. The first one, I had a mishap drilling out some broken seat bolts, and well, the tank got a couple extra holes in it that day. I think I may have lied about the tank. It has to be more than 6 years old. The truck's been parked longer than that. I'd say it's 8 years minimum, but I believe it'll run. I don't think I elaborated on the carburetor gasket. I wanted the thicker one because of those studs I had were a little too long, so I had to have a spacer for the air cleaner. Which I could have probably chopped them off, and I had to deal with that, but there's probably some benefit to the thicker gasket as well. Maybe better thermal insulation, less or more vapor lock resistance, maybe some minuscule performance improvement, or I don't know. It looked better to me anyway, but I'm gonna throw that fuel filter on real quick and dump this gas in it, and I'll try to start it. Well, those fuel lines are fighting me. They're a little old and tough. Unfortunately, I've dropped both my hose clamps, so it looks like I'm gonna have to lay here on the ground in this vine that looks suspiciously like poison ivy. Let's see if I can find those. I sure hope it ain't poison ivy anyway. So I got the filter on. I did my best to fill the bowl with the carburetor. Still just a little bit, but I just helped prime it, I guess. Hooked some booster cables to it. I'll try that first. I mean, it never works, but I just don't want to. Only battery I got that I could borrow is on my trailer. It'd be aggravating to mess with, so I'm just gonna try this first. Let's see if we got the power. It's in neutral, not that it matters. Oh, not a good enough connection, of course. But so I went and got my trailer battery. That was actually took more time trying to start it without it than just going up there and getting it, but it's in there now, so it should finally start. Oh, the door buzzer just went out. Wait a minute. Clutch safety works sometimes. That battery was a little low. It was showing a little over 9 volts. I just hooked it to the truck over here. This thing's been charging for a minute. Maybe it'll start. I'm gonna give it an extra snort here. Just in case there wasn't enough fuel in there. I want it to fire up pretty quick because it's kind of annoying boosting on it. You got oil pressure. Oil pressure good. Let's sit here and idle on the fast idle. Power steering pump. Power steering pump ain't happy. I'm gonna see if I can find something real quick. Well, it's full. It's just really aerated. Only fluid I could find, but the transmission fluid. I didn't really want to use this. Kind of expensive, but that's what I had on hand. I'll fire it back up and let it run for a second. I noticed it's leaking pretty bad out the transmission. The slip yoke's out of it. Look. That shouldn't hurt nothing. See, it'll fire back up. I'm gonna touch the gas this time. Oh, come on. So close. That's real good for the starter. Let me fire this other truck back up again. I slid the drive shaft yoke back in. It was making a mess earlier. I tried a few times to get this stupid thing to start again, but let's see if it goes this time. Perfect. That's really all I could do to this truck until the U-joint gets here, and you said Wednesday. Oh wait, yeah, something like that. So supposedly 5 days before the U-joint gets here. If it wasn't for that, so truck could be ready to go. I can get in it and take off. It's running pretty good, actually. I do need to probably tune in that carburetor a little more. And I think it's probably going to need some work on the distributor, or probably just replace the whole thing. It pings really bad, a lot of detonation. I don't know if it's advancing too much or what it's doing, but it's started giving me trouble. But it runs good. But I guess I'll pick this back up whenever the parts come in. I figured I would record in case it dieseled really bad when I shut it off. And checking the windows. Driver's side still works. Passenger side had quit a while back. There was a broken wire on the switch. I need to check, make sure that didn't come back off. But
highest quality, the best prices.
Radio. It's not overheating or anything, but it doesn't seem like that clutch fan's doing a whole lot, but I think I've let it run long enough. Let's see. Right off. We'll start back. Ooh, a little high in time there. That's, I don't know, there's something up with that distributor. I'll probably just go ahead and replace it if I can find a good one somewhere. I thought I may have had one, but I looked for it the other day and must have got rid of it a few years ago, but I'll come back to this in a few days when I get that other U-joint. It's about a week later. This U-joint got here within a couple of days, actually, but it's literally rained every single day for a week. It's been cold and nasty, so I hadn't really had a chance to mess with it. I really miss having shop times like this, but I was looking, I noticed this drive shaft took a little bit of a hit too, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to even use this. Definitely I don't know if I can knock it through and straighten it, or I don't know. I'll see. I'm kind of worried it might also be kind of pinched together here, so that's popped through. I'll have to dig into it and see. But I did figure out that the truck, it used a 3R or a Spicer S44 or 1344 U-joint. I was able to find, well, this dry shaft is a standard 1350. But I was able to find the conversion joint from the 1344 to a 1350. If I'd been smart, or put any thought into it, I guess, I probably could have figured that out and went ahead and bought just a standard 1350 yoke for the truck side. But I still think this is probably cheaper in the long run, which, you know, I may end up having to buy a new dry shaft anyway. But I'm gonna see if I can get this thing apart, get the new U-joint in it somehow or another. May have to have one made. I definitely can't buy one. They're proud of them things. It's over $600 on Rock Auto for just off the shelf replacement. I'm sure a driveline shop could probably do better than that, but I'm gonna go with this for now and see how bad it is. But I'll dig into it and I'll come back. Of course, that bent over piece, it just chipped right off there when I knocked the U-joint through, but it looks superficial. It's just right along the groove where the snap ring rides. I believe for now I can position the snap ring up here in the good part of the groove, and this down here will be inconsequential for what I'm trying to do at the moment. But I think I can go ahead and throw that new one in here and see what happens. So I got pulled away from this yesterday, and of course it's raining again today, but I really want to get this thing out of here. This is probably going to be kind of a anticlimactic payoff to this video here, because I don't plan on really going far. There's still a lot I need to do to the truck before I do a whole lot of running around in it. But I'll run it up the road for a quick test drive. There's still quite a bit of other things for maybe other videos, but hopefully this battery still got some charge. Let me strap this battery in and we'll see if it'll start. That didn't work out so well. I got tired of staying out there in the rain, but I'll run up the road real quick, be easy with it. Battery shouldn't go anywhere. Sure, this is gonna be really good camera view, trying to hold this and drive, and maybe the battery will work here. Let's see. Pump it a couple times. It's been about a week, maybe 8 days since I last started it. Oh, perfect. Guess this wasn't a spectacular quote unquote revival, but it ain't been 40 years or whatever. It's been 4 days. Or I mean, well, 4 years. And this has been 8 days since it last started, but let's see if the wipers work. Oh, they wanna. I don't think that helped me any, but that's a little better. I just want this thing out of here, pull it up somewhere better to work on it. Oh. I gotta go for it. It gets a little swampy back here. The windshield wipers cut apart, of course. turn around here. Ordinarily, I would probably go around the loop, test it out, but I like to at least get the oil changed before I drive a whole lot further. This wasn't in a good place where I was parked at to change it where it was. At this speed, everything seems fine. I didn't really film a whole lot of the dry shaft. I had somebody watching me, and it seemed awkward filming myself. I need to invest in a tripod, better filming type equipment, a computer, and editing software would probably be a good upgrade as well. But in the future, I would like to start maybe recording more often. I'm going to try to start recording more often if I'm doing anything mildly interesting. You know, some more of this revival stuff. I have a video of a Cutlass a couple years ago. I've done some salvage rebuild stuff, ATVs, and buy those, fix them, flip them. General mechanical stuff. I did a full 5-speed conversion on my last Silverado. That would have been a pretty good video if I'd recorded all that, I guess. Just stuff like that. Anything that semi-interesting. I do need to get better filming equipment, a tripod, some mounts and stuff like that, and editing software with actual computer. Other than that, there's still a lot to do this truck. I'll probably do another video when I go to clean it up, get everything buttoned up, get it roadworthy. Need to get the oil changed. I have some 12-inch wide rallies I'd love to put back on here, back down to a 33-inch tire. This thing's got like a budget lift kit on there. I can go over that on a video, I guess. It's pro comp, but it's cheap. I think all in $250-$300 in this lift kit. That's new shocks and all. I have to go back and look and see. There's a little trick stuff to save money lifting the square body. This thing, I like to put a set of heads on. It's got a 350 in it that somebody had, I guess they maybe swapped the short block in the old truck they had and reused the 305 heads. And I'd like to put the actual good set of heads on here, maybe do a cam. Of course, body work, maybe paint eventually, but other than that, that's probably gonna be it for this video. Well, thanks for watching.